I think it's fair to say that they're getting their money's worth out of this private jet of Tim Steidten's. My word. I mean, I'm pretty sure that when he landed and dropped off Kudus, I reckon they just kept the engine running, just said, "Look, mate, I'll be back in a minute," because he's off again. He's left the country. He's now in Brazil, trying to do a new deal for a striker, which we're going to come to in a minute. Just before I go into this, though, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody, because we've now hit 10,000 subscribers, which is, it's a lovely landmark to hit. So it's greatly appreciated. Also, as well, for people that aren't subscribers to the channel, if you are a subscriber, you get entered into our kit giveaway competition. We give away a top completely free home, away, or third kit you get to pick. And we do every month for the whole season. In fact, I'm going to do a video tomorrow for the next winner. So if you haven't already entered, all you need to do is subscribe and then go back to the video, which is about a week or so ago with the kit giveaway on. If you go in there, just leave a comment and then you've entered it. And if you do that, and I'll announce it tomorrow. So yeah, just wanted to say that. And now let's get on to, this is Alberto, this new player that West Ham have been heavily linked with. In fact, go as far as saying now, it looks like the deal's quite close, because personal terms are said to be agreed with the player. And we're now just trying to get a deal sorted out with the club. And before we go into the actual deal itself, just want to quickly talk about the player. So I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about him. In fact, when I say not much, none, don't know anything about him. I've had to literally look him up, like I'm pretty sure a lot of fans have had to do. If you do know a lot about him, though, do let us know and leave a comment, because the thing is, when it's, this is what we wanted, wasn't it, from Tim Steidten? He's known as the Pearl Diver. He goes around, travels the world looking for talent in football. And this is what we want. We want to find these players that can fit. Well, it's got to fit our system. And let's be honest, we've had terrible luck when it comes to strikers. So I'm actually all for this, really. I'm actually thinking, I want to put my trust in this guy and say, look, let's see what you come up with here. Because if this is the player that has been identified as someone apparently that fits the bill, that's going to work in a David Moyes system, then I'm absolutely all for it. So he's 22 years old. He's 6 foot. He played for Corinthians at the moment, and he also plays for the Brazilian national team. He's only got one cap for the Brazilian national team, but at the end of the day, the fact he's played for Brazil indicates that this is a good player for me. That's already a big tick for me. I was trying to look at his goal scoring record, because a lot of people commented and said, "Oh, he's not that good, though. He's not that impressive." I actually don't agree with that. I'm quite impressed. So he played in Brazil for Internacional. He played 70 times for them and scored 27 goals. He then went to Russia to play for Zenit St. Petersburg. He scored. He wasn't there for very long because of the war that obviously has broken out in Ukraine. So he had to then come back. So he played. Yeah, while he was out there, though, he played 11 games and scored 4 goals. And now for Corinthians, he's played a total a period of time, 30 games and scored 12 goals. So that is out of all those teams I've just mentioned, that's 111 games and 43 goals. So that's 1 in every 2.5 games. Now, if you put that into context of, say, 38 game season, say Premier League football, that's 15 goals. So look, that's not a bad record at all. I've got no problem with that. Absolutely. I look at that and think, well, that's what we want to see. As I say, it's always a little bit hard, isn't it, to get like overly really excited when you don't really know the player. But we've had this before. I mean, how many times have you looked back in our past and said, like, oh, who's this guy? And then they've turned out to be an absolute, unbelievable player for us. Manuel Lanzini springs to mind. Dimitri Payet springs to mind. Players that have come over and you've kind of gone, who? Well, I'm not so sure what's this all about. And then, been absolutely blown away. So, and X has reported now that this is where we are with the deal. So we'll get back to the video in just a second, but I just wanted to let you know this video is actually sponsored by CIRCL, and specifically their game 5 Match Millions. I'm going to be honest with you, okay, that we're very picky about who we work with on the channel. For the West Ham Way, we are. And when they approached us to sponsor the channel, we said, well, okay, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll basically use your app for a couple of weeks just to make sure that we're happy with it. I've got to say, it's really good and very addictive, I'll warn you. Basically, the way it works is they pick 5 games for the weekend, Premier League football games, okay? And each game, you pick a number. You can do it either randomly, or you do a lucky dip, or you pick the numbers that you want. And the way it works is that it's numbers from 1 to 27, and basically the dial will spin depending on what happens in the game. So if there's a throw in, it moves 2 places to the left. If there's a yellow card, it goes 4 to the right. And basically, wherever it ends at the end of the game, it'll land on a number. And if you get that number, then you win. So basically, you can win up to £1 million if you get all 5. Okay. And the first, so if you match 1, you get your money back plus a couple of quid extra, blah, 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 blah. And basically, I think even if you match 3 numbers, you get 75 quid. So it's very, very good. And yeah, and basically all it is £2 a week to play. Now, if you click on the link below and type in West Ham Way, next weekend's games, you get absolutely free and get to give it a go. So why not just give it a go? Got nothing to lose. I've got to say, it's really, really good. And as I say, I've won already twice. It might be beginner's luck. It might well be beginner's luck, but I'm definitely going to carry on playing. But yeah, so click the link below, West Ham Way. Good luck. But originally, we've gone out there, and I think Tim Steidten's going to see a few players. I don't believe he's just gone there for a one-player mission. I don't believe that's the case. I think X has highlighted that there's a few players out there he wants to go and speak to clubs about. But this is the main guy, Alberto. And what we understand is that we're going to look at doing a loan deal originally, alone with an option to buy. I don't think that appears at the moment from what X is saying that's a no-go. It's going to be too difficult to arrange. So it's going to be a permanent transfer. And I believe that the fee we're talking about is 12 to 15 million pounds. Let's be honest, very reasonable. This is what we wanted. So it's quite interesting because I've seen some negativity, a little bit, not much. I'm not going to sort of go into it, but because it's not a negative time. Let's be honest, this is not a time to be negative as a West Ham fan. This is the time to be very, very positive because things have been great so far this season. And long may it continue. But when it comes to this player, some people have sort of said, well, I'm not so sure, why aren't we going for someone like this? Why aren't we going? But this is what we brought Steidten in for. This is, not only to go and get these deals over the line, but also to go and find these gems, to go and say, look, I've identified a very good striker that's available for a reasonable fee. And I'm all for that. I think we need to trust that and say, okay, I'll tell you what, let's see how we go, because that's what we wanted, haven't we? We don't want to keep spending money on strikers. We've had our fingers burnt a lot of times. You can understand, say, a David Sullivan or the club's stance when it comes to strikers, that we're a little bit reluctant to go out and spend another, say, 40, 50 million pounds on another striker with the fingers crossed for them, because it does feel like that's what we're doing all the time. I know that's, by the way, that's not a dig at the strikers. I know people seem to think I've got this Scamacca. Hey, I don't at all. I think he's a great player, but he just didn't fit our system. That's not his fault. That's West Ham's. So now you've got Steidten come involved, who has identified this player as being someone that can fit the system, because that is what's the key bit to this with this player, is that this is what X has reported, that he's seen as someone who can play like Antonio. He can run the channels, he's strong, he's fast, and get involved and can score goals. So that's what we want to hear. I always felt that we need to have a like for like. What's the point in keep getting a player in to come in, he's going to be a backup or another option for Antonio, and then he's completely different and plays a completely different style, and it just doesn't work. So I'm really hoping that this, if the deal obviously goes through, that's what we're going to get here. So basically, the news is at the moment that Tim Steidten is in Brazil at the moment having talks, and the aim is he's going to aim to complete the deal, bring the player back on the private jet. We get the old private jet picture, hopefully, again. As I say, I think that originally that the loan option was the preferred option. I think that's what West Ham are really angling for, but it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I don't really mind that now, because had it been a really heavy investment, if it had been, say, a 30, 40 million pound investment, you do sort of think, and you'd never heard of the player, and he's playing from abroad, not played in the Premier League, I would be starting to feel a little bit anxious about it, thinking, is this wise? Do we not want to go and invest it elsewhere or on another player that's a bit more proven? But the fact you're looking at 12 to 15 million as a total package fee, I don't think it's a great risk, is it? It's not too bad. And he's a young player. He's only 22, which indicates good sell-on value. So all I'm saying is, if it doesn't work, let's just say in a season's time, by the end, by next summer, it hasn't worked out, you can probably recoup all the money to get rid of him. So I don't think it's a great risk to West Ham personally. Pedro Flamengo is the alternative, I believe, if this doesn't go through. I think there's a few other players they're looking at, but Yuri Alberto is definitely the number one. That's what we've been told by X. So look, I've got to be honest. I'm sure that you can all join me in this. I'm sure for the same as West Ham fan at the moment. I'm really buzzing at the moment. I'm so happy, so enjoying football. It's been a great start to the season, and considering the fact that last season, I know that we won the trophy. Let's just forget about that for a minute. But that Premier League season was so difficult. It was such a slog, and just tough, wasn't it, for all of us to watch every week? I feel like we were just not getting the results, not playing well, having to grind out results at the end. It was very hard. So to have this season start the way it has, be second in the league after it's only 3 games, not getting carried away, but it's just nice to get some points on the board. Nice to feel that we might be in for a decent season. We are shaping up at the moment to be having a decent season, and the fact we've got Luton on Friday, I'm going into it with a lot of confidence, to be honest, and I'm looking forward to doing the preview, which will be out on. When will that be out? That'll be on Friday, the Luton preview. So I'll be doing that soon. Another bit of news as well before I go. I just want to This is not a transfer video. I wanted just to talk about Yuri Alberto. I just want a quick update as well on Jesse Lingard. Good old Jesse Lingard, Riley's favourite player. So, do you know what? I really think this is going to happen. From looking from X's comments and his updates, and I've spoken to him a couple of times about it, it appears that every time that X is speaking to his sources at the club, is that the confidence there was growing. So the update we've had from X on regarding Lingard, we will do a video a little bit later, not necessarily not today or something, but we'll try and maybe do one this week or so regarding the Lingard situation, because not much has greatly changed. Hence why I'm not doing it. I just want to mention it now. But he has said that basically not only is Lingard, very keen to return and what have you, it appears that the week after the Luton game, which is the international break, is likely to be the week that the deal is done, that I think they're going to make their decision then on what's going to happen. So that's certainly one to watch. And it appears, I mean, it does seem to be shaping up that Lingard's coming back to West Ham for at least a short-term contract. And of course, as well, X has alluded to quite a few times that the number 11 shirt's available. And that's obviously what he had when he was on his loan at the club. Look, if Lingard comes back and is anywhere near the sort of player he was when he came on a loan in 2021, then my word, that's a great player to have. Of course, that does leave the big question marks of who would go, because that is now looming. There is talk that the players will be leaving the club as well. Fringe players, apparently. Maybe two. I think I heard it was it 1 to 2, maybe 2 to 3. I need to check that, but we will do another video on this a bit later in terms of players that could be departing the club. I'm not overly happy with some of the names that are coming out. I'm going to be honest. Pablo Fornals being one. I don't want to see him go, but look, let's see what happens. But Lingard, yeah, I think that could be happening, and I've got a very strong feeling now that personal terms, by the way, I agreed with Yuri Alberto. So it's just about getting a deal done with the club. And apparently the parent club, I know I'm jumping around here, so I do apologise, that with Corinthians, the gap in the fee is very small. So it does appear that we are going to be getting this player should be wrapped up soon. So yeah, look, it's been a great start since the season. I'm really it's really enjoyable to talk about West Ham at the moment. It's just a real pleasure. So yeah, look, let's hope for a really positive week. It's a big week because not only have we got Luton coming up, but we've got the transfer deadline date on Friday, which is going to be mental, no doubt. And of course, we've got the Europa Conference League draw. So bring it on.